Tomba Singh ji, good
Namaste.
afternoon.
Good
Namaste,
afternoon,
namaste.
sir.
Namaste. We are in Ed's chamber in our department, it seems, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is it audible, sir?
Yes, wonderful.
Hmm.
Wonderful. My colleague Professor Bhartendu Singh is also there online.
Okay, okay, nice,
Okay,
nice. Sir.
Namaskar.
Yeah. So, how is Manipur?
Manipur is fine, sir. It's very excellent. The climatic condition right now, and the weather is good now.
Yeah, because yesterday some participants were telling one of the disadvantages of this online system is they are not able to come to Aizol and they are suffering out of 40 degrees of temperature.
Where Manipur?
No, participants from other places.
Yeah, yes, sir. In the other places,
40 plus is still going on in some places.
Yeah. But Manipur is okay, sir. Manipur is we having the average is the 30, 31, 32 like that only.
Okay. So we will start at 1:30. So I request you to conclude by 2:45.
2:45.
Actually, yours is the last session. In 14 days program, yours is the last session.
Okay,
we kept you last because we don't want to lose tempo. Towards the end, sometimes what happens is, because I participated in some refresher courses way back. Initially, it starts very well, and afterwards, like a boring movie, the climax may not be that interesting. Climax should also be equally interesting, no? In a good movie. So we kept you as our man.
Booster.
So please don't consider you are the last batsman. Okay. So last batsman contribution is very much important to win the game, to win the match. Okay. So
yeah, last 2-3 days I'm also having some throat problems, sir. It's, due to this cold and some headache is going on. But anyway, yeah, let me just silently I just inform you that the topic. I saw that many of our friends might
scheduled.
be also just for the recollect with them especially for the research, and that's why I just thought that I think let me share some of my experience regarding about this research work, and that's why I just Professor Bhatendu, how are you?
Yeah, fine, sir. Perfectly fine, sir.
Okay. After a long time, no?
Yeah, very long back.
And we cannot miss each other.
Yeah.
तो कैसा चल रहा है अभी मिजोरम में?
Yeah, it's very fine, sir.
Okay. When your vacation will be start?
Vacation, we are having vacation in December, sir. So 18th of December.
Okay.
But meanwhile, some semester break will be there towards mid of July.
And we have two vacations in our university. We have one is winter and one is summer.
We are also on paper we are having, sir, but because of this COVID, some disturbance is there. We are having some 20 days during the July. But our semester is sometime delayed to cover up those things.
Even our also there are many even by chancellor, and even they have suggested not to have the vacation. So I have also given my opinion that vacation should be, because there are many are from the outside Manipur, and they have already decided to go home and meet their nearest one. And I think why should we block them? So let us have. So now that's why we are having from tomorrow onward,
okay.
up to 5th July. This is our democratic right, no? We should get it.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah.
In such a way that I told in the academic council also.
That is why people like you should be in Mizoram University. Now you left. So we are missing people like you in Mizoram.
Because sir, this is our democratic right now.
Yeah.
And we have to have, you know, the vacation and the meeting with our nearest one. You know, it's a refreshing. That all the time engage with the academic.
It is not only a democratic right. It is also in the interest of the institution.
Sir, this is FRSR, no? This is our legal right.
In a Tata group of companies, if employees they don't apply for leave, then they try to take action against those employees. So they will ask the employees stop doing work and go for leave because your leave you have not availed. They used to tell that like that only. But it happens in Tata group of companies, but not in Reliance. So anyway, nice meeting you, Professor Tomba Singh, and a well-known commerce faculty in this region, Northeast India. And your surname is, I don't know how to pronounce it, Kumukcham Tomba Singh, right?
Yes, sir.
Kumukcham Tomba Singh, right. And a very interesting profile he had. And nowadays it is very difficult to get a job. And after getting a job, normally we try to retire in the same place till retirement. Especially it happens in teaching. But in case of Tomba Singh, he started his career in Nagaland in a college. Then he got jobs in 3 central universities, which is unimaginable. So I don't think I will get a job if I resign for this job. Okay. And he served Assam University in Silchar, that is nearest city for us in Aizawl. And he served there as assistant professor. And from there, he moved to Commerce Department, Mizoram University. But he was there very short span as a reader, I think, at the time, designation was as reader. Then immediately he got an opportunity to go back to his hometown, that is Manipur University, and where he had studied his MCom and where he did his doctoral research PhD in the same department. So he is the alumnus of Manipur University Commerce Department. Now he is the head of the department. That is something dream. It doesn't happen that easily, but it happened in case of Professor Tomba Singh ji. And so he has nearly 25 years of teaching experience, maybe more than that. And a very good number of papers. And he published a good number of papers and 4 or 5 projects, major research projects he completed. And he's a very humble person. And so that is why we kept him as a reserve candidate for the last day, for the last session. And in fact, he chosen the correct topic, hypothesis testing, because some people, they spoke about research, some of the resource persons, they spoke well, but no one covered this hypothesis testing. But still, this hypothesis testing is still, it is a big question mark in the minds of many social scientists, whether it should be there or how to test it, or without hypothesis, proposal will not be approved by the board of the studies. So how to just incorporate some hypothesis without having any idea about that? And if research questions are there, then why hypothesis? Is it not possible to do research without hypothesis? Then again, statistics part, how to test it. So these are some of the, though a lot of literature is available on that, still these questions after having coursework also, and in board meetings, I understand these questions linger even in the minds of the senior supervisors. So I think we have taken up a very correct topic, and now it is stage is yours, Professor Tomba Singh ji.
Good evening, our Professor Jyoti Kumar, and my colleague, my friend, Professor Bhatendu. And there are 27 participants. Sir, I'll be, so this is my great, the pleasure and the opportunity to interact with the fellow friends, fellow academicians from the different part of the country, and especially Mizoram University Department of Commerce is my the former department. I love very much this department, and in my careers, and that departments give me a lot of increments also, but I am very much in depth. I am very much delighted to grateful, show my gratefulness to that professor. And now, yes, I just pick up this topic. Yes, our professor is rightly mentioned about in the research, and many of we, it might be social science or mathematical science or the humanity or the social science. Rather, we are non, but we are using about the hypothesis. That's why this subject, this topic is so important actually, and we all are aware about this hypothesis also. And but I just want to share that what exactly the hypothesis and how to the formulate about hypothesis and how to test this. So sir, let me share my the skill, share the screen. I think that will be better, huh, sir?
Yes, please, yeah. Yeah, please.
It's okay, sir?
Yeah, about to get it. 1 minute.
It's okay, sir? Sir?
Started screen sharing. We are seeing those letters.
But the screen is not coming yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blank screen.
And now
okay,
fine. Now fine.
It's okay coming?
Yes.
Yeah. I think okay. we got third slide.
Okay. Ready?
And now it is moving up and down. Yes, this is the first slide, right?
Okay. So yes, hypothesis, the testing. One slide is yes. Now the hypothesis testing. So as you know, the hypothesis is what exactly hypothesis actually. So is a composition of the two or more variable which to be verified. That means statement about solution of the problem, the position of these variables in the specific the frame of reference. Yes, let me start, and that is just for the basic the understanding about the hypothesis, and there are some of the definitions or the meanings given by the different personality and different the authorities. So now hypothesis means a premises or the claim that we want to test. Now here is a very, we can elaborate, like this, the claim that we want to test. See now, we can take one example. See now, one manufacturing company, the claiming that new drug is better than the existing drugs. That means now here we want to test it. The whether, because now the new drugs which was manufactured recently, is it better than the existing one? So like that. So that means the claim, the word claim, that means is better than the existing one. So that is a claim. But I think how to justify it. This is actually research. What we are doing, the research is also, research is from known to unknown. This is the movement from known to unknown. And you see, the most of the research, actually most of the research are having the hypothesis actually. So hypothesis is this is a claim that we want to test. Whether my statement, whether my objectives are correct or not, whether these objectives are justifiable or not. So that means now that was the explanation what I have put. This is actually the hypothesis. And as you know, in a statistics, and we have learned that means we used to frame the hypothesis in a mathematical, the terms, like the highest knot is to mu is equal to 0. Now another definition is also given like this. It is a Boolean guess to detect significant difference between comparing the simple statistics with population, the parameter. Now, my dear the friends, now this is second, third actually, the sentence was so important actually. Now the means we want to test. Right, we want to test means I have given the example also. I've just right now I'm cited. One is the recent manufacturing, the medicine is better than the existing one. So now that means now the existing one is the the population, the parameters. In statistics, what we have learned, there are two types of statistics. One is see the parameters. And the parameters means those calculation based on the universe and the populations. And another one is statistics, means from the sample size. And we are calculating, some figures, from the sample size. So now, basically, actually, that means now we want to, the researcher want to compare existing. One is inferior to the new one. So that means the existing one is a parameters, and the statistics is the new means recently the invented one. So that means, so that is then how to find out about the difference between these statistics and parameters. So basically, actually, as the researchers, as scholars, actually, as academicians, actually, this is it's so important to understand. It's so important to understand about this thing. Even the literature also we use it, and even history also use it. Now the recent the episode, like the people talk about the many things. I don't want to mention it, please. Obviously, many things are happening about in India, like Gyanpit, the episode, and then there are many other things are happening. So, it's also, a kind of, the guess, it's a intellectual, the guess is a Boolean guess. Whether these guess are, is a truth or not, whether you are going to rejecting about your guess. So now we didn't go in some other places, but we heard and somebody that, oh, it's a wonderful, it's a marvelous, right? We talk about, we didn't know that exactly, but if you want to know, that means we have to anyway. So that means exactly, actually, what is a hypothesis? So now the third actually line was the excellence, and it's very good, and it's a compare between the simple statistics and the population and parameters. Now the hypothesis is a theory, is actually it's a kind of the assertions or the claim or beliefs and about the population parameters. The population parameters you can see about the standard deviation means S capitals and the mu, right? And these all are actually the population parameters, and these population parameters, based on that, there are some question we can ask, that mean whether India is really the practicing about secularisms, right? So now that secularism is a mu, right? And some people may say that no, we are not, and some people say that yes, we are 100%, we are adopting, and we are we are not deviated anything. So there are the many issues, actually. This is a theory, is an assertion or the claim, or this is also a kind of belief, and whether my beliefs are correct or not, whether it can be justifiable or not. The second one means it's a premises or the claim that we want to test, but whether this is always it is able to test. Otherwise, it is not a good. It's not a scientific research. Now, next also same thing, but I don't want to explain many things. But we know that what is a hypothesis means. It's a claim that we want to test. It's a claim. That means researcher claim. That is a researcher claim. And individual claim, that means we want to test that. Tested now here is a between population and the sample size. That means parameters and the sample statistics. From that, there are many, like say in even statistics also, we have learned what we have learned is a parametrics and the non-parametrics, isn't it? So parametrics and the non-parametrics. So now the parametrics means like the we call interval and ratios, and these are the parametrics, and the Norman distributions. And non-parametric means like the nominand and ordinance are the non-parametrics. And so from that the point of view also means, I think, how to use and how to test it. We want to test. I think what are the tools are available and how to select it. The selection is also depend on the natures of the the information and the nature of your information. Whether your information, your scales are nominand, mean the dichotomous, or the ordinance, or the interval, or a ratio, is based on that. Based on that, the testing technique will be different. So now my the intentions and the is like this. And as a researchers, and we have to understand about my objective, and then how to achieve this objective, and where these hypotheses are derived, and which technique is appropriate that particular the hypothesis. So if once we understand before starting about our research work, then research can be completed within a stipulated time, and it can be, the wonderful, the regions. But now the problem what still we are struggling, and we are facing, still a lot of problem, because is that I think we are, we are very difficult to the identify about, the what kind of data is going to be used, and which that data is which category, and which, type, whether it is a parameters, whether it is a non-parameters, it's a, such type of things, and which the technique is, which inferential statistics is, appropriate, So this is what I'm trying to discuss with. Please. Now you see the source of here, the source of the hypothesis. Now here is, yes, we know the what exactly the hypothesis. There are many definitions given in the textbook, this and that, but I don't want to go those lengthy, the definitions, and let us try to understand. So now this hypothesis means now when we discuss with the colleagues and expert about, the problems, it origin and objective in the seeking a, the solution. So from the here is also, the source of, the hypothesis. Now here I just mention about, the say GAN pitch, the episode. I think from here itself means now after discussion, after listening from the TV discussion, all these things. So we can reach to the conclusion, and we can also derive some sort of the mechanisms. So that is the one. Examination of data and record for the possible trend, and the and the review of the similar studies, and the explanatory personal investigations and observation, logic and deductions from the existing theories, continuities of research, and the institutions and the personnel, the experience. So these are the sources of hypothesis. And in a research means in any kind of research, when we are writing a papers, and for the even for the good journal, or whether it might be review journal, all because a hypothesis actually it's a must, and how to state that is depend on the individual researchers. Now come to that, the next, what exactly the the hypothesis. That means now the types of hypothesis. There are two types of the hypothesis. There are two types of hypothesis. So one is, we know we heard about the non-hypothesis. We call this a non-hypothesis. But in the research, actually, the normally the many of the scholars actually without knowing actually we stated actually whether it is a non or whether it is a alternative hypothesis, because as a scholars, let us think. So there are two types of hypothesis. So one is a non-hypothesis. None means it's a no difference actually. That means no different in sense. Now the population means now the parameters and the statistics is no different, means it's a same. It's the same. Say for example, say one example just now I mentioned about that there is no difference between two drugs on average. There are two drugs. One is a newly manufactured one drug, and another one is existing drug in a particular disease, in a particular disease, like you can BP, and you can say that any kind of disease. That means there is no difference between two drugs on average, means there's no difference. That means same, the effect is same. So if you can take the new one and you can take the old one, but the reason will be the same, reaction will be same. That was that means no difference. So that's why in statistics, in mathematically, what we did means the highest not we pronounce mean no, not means now we pronounce not, we pronounce highest not. So that means no difference. So this is the alternative hypothesis. Now this is alternative hypothesis. It's always actually stated in the negative form. It's always stated in the negative form, means no difference. like, sometimes, all the time we're using about the no difference. There is no difference also. Sometimes, the monotonous, the sentence itself. So that's why we want to see means no difference among the variables, right? No difference between the variables, like that. If you say like that, means there's no difference. No difference. What no difference? That means parameters and the statistics, population and the samples. So that means that is what exactly the meaning is that. Like say, even let us come to, yes, there
What happened? Disconnected?
I think, sir, he got disconnected. He must be trying to connect.
Oh. Hypothesis testing is also like this.
Testing.
So
Drop a message to him. If power cut is there, then
yeah. He's going to connect. He said he is
trying to connect.
he will join again. Yeah. Some disturbance, he said. But then you can teach about hypothesis testing. So, You can continue teaching.
He must be in the way to join, sir.
The one mistake we do in framing hypothesis, because hypothesis, as you know, it is a statement, and normally it consists of two variables, independent variable and dependent variable. And one mistake normally we do is, without having any idea about existing body of knowledge, without having any fair idea about the literature, we try to form the hypothesis just for the sake of hypothesis. But if we review properly the literature, the existing literature already it has some conclusions, it has some interpretation, it contains some discussion, and based on that, if we could formulate hypothesis, then it would be better. It should not be based on just somebody's imagination, like that.
So that, yes, sir, real concept of hypothesis is that only. Hypothesis should come out of previous researches. If there is no previous research in the area, then hypothesis may not generate actually. Exploratory studies, when we are exploring a new thing, new venture, then we cannot have, better we don't have hypothesis. Hypothesis is based on the research which has been conducted, their findings, and then mixed with our situation. Like research has been conducted in one part of India or one part of world. Now I want to see whether same thing happens in my place or in my city or not. So hypothesis will generate that it happened there. So based on that, I'm assuming it may happen or it may not happen in my place. But if no research happened, then not possible. So it has to be out of the previous researches only. And yes, as you are telling, dependent and independent variables. So we have to identify that variables before putting forward this hypothesis statement. We should identify what are the variables and how to quantify those things. If we cannot quantify those variables, then we cannot test it. Hypothesis is a statistical word. Hypothesis is having some meaning in English also. It is having some literary word. But when we use this word in the reference of research, then it is a statistical mean only. So if hypothesis I am putting, I need to test it. If I need to test it, I have to identify the variables. If variables are not quantifiable, then I cannot test. So those things should be discussed well before putting it forward. So
but there is some other issue in certain thesis I have seen. Sometimes they try to test the relationship between two variables. Actually, we don't.
His came, sir.
Professor Tomba ji.
Yes.
Just because we have a responsibility to engage the audience, that is why we started discussing about hypothesis. I mean, instead of keeping silence. See, one question I want to just, because Tombaji, you may also answer this. So in certain thesis, I have seen certain hypothesis, and actually, there is no point in trying to have, or in trying to find some relationship, significant relationship between two variables. In no way those two variables are that much important, that much related also. Sometimes people, they try to formulate hypothesis just for the sake of hypothesis without having any idea about existing literature. Say,
yes,
just in I don't remember the author name, but in one research methodology book, the author has given one example. The relationship between the length of the skirt of female employees in organization and stock market index. So he has given, actually he has given this example, and it is possible to test some with the help of some statistical tools.
Sir, what is that one, sir? Please repeat, sir.
the length of these cuts,
Mm.
were by some female employees in one organization and stock market index in the country. So the researcher, because we all know these are two totally unrelated, but if we want to apply some statistics, some result will come.
Yeah, automatically.
Some result will come, but just because some result we are getting, because we are using some statistical tool, it doesn't mean both are related with each other.
So, sir, yes,
Yeah.
sir, you are absolutely right. Actually, that's why I just share my view that, and we are knowingly or unknowingly, and we are using the hypothesis. So hypothesis is a claim that we want to test, isn't it, sir? So it should be justifiables. That means it might be not only two, the among the variable also. So that's why in the categorically we can classify it into two. One is a non-hypothesis. Non-hypothesis means no relation between that one. So you are just talking about the employees and the index of the stock exchange actually. So that means actually these two are actually difference. You see the kind actually. So now here means see the population actually. So yes, it can be related also, because stock exchange actually index is actually, there are many factors are there actually. Not only the the employees actually. Employees is actually not much influence about the stock. Yes, that means the efficiency and how they have the forecast, this and that, there is a factors actually, right? That may be also we can
the other idea is the dress style of employees of a particular organization is in no way connected with the stock market index. But if we want to test it, we will get some result. He's saying like that.
Okay. Yeah.
That is his idea.
Yeah. We can test it.
So,
like even the cooking also, I think we can put so many things, but result, ultimately something will get the result. We get the final, the taste.
I just quote one example. Professor Bhatendu Singh's son is a 10th class guy. He attended one ISRO program in Shillong when IPL matches were going on. When he was in Aizawl, because his favorite team was his favorite cricket star is Kohli. When he was in Aizawl, Bangalore team was losing. But when he was there in Shillong, then Bangalore team started winning the matches. Then he was saying, better I be here in Shillong till they win the the final match. Because we generally have some sentiments like that. But some people, they try to create hypotheses based on certain beliefs and certain sentiments without having any idea about the existing studies. That is my point.
Okay, sir.
Sir, please, yeah.
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Continue, that's all. That's all. You please carry on. Huh? Yeah.
Sir, can you see this one in my slide, sir?
Yeah, please start sharing your slide again.
I have already shared, no, this. Okay.
Please.
Can you do karo? Amado. Okay, sir. I'm gonna. So, sir, just one. Can Vijay?
I think now we have some new dress, I think. So we are with the new jacket, I think, right? Not opening. You click on the red. Yeah.
It's okay, sir?
Yes, yes. Yes, that's
This
good.
is
Please.
yeah, because
Please go
online
ahead.
is sometimes it's a problem because of the internet
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
And sorry, sir, I think we don't have much time, but anyway.
Yeah. Please go ahead and yeah.
Yes, sir, you are absolutely the correct, and I agree with you. And yeah, hypothesis basically, yes, I have we have in two. One is a non-hypothesis, means it's a no difference between the population parameters and statistics. So this is actually we want to test it. No difference here mean there are many, and the especially actually our intention is to protect about our the non hypothesis, and we want to, the researcher want to protect about that. So let us, and the alternative hypothesis is especially that some of the authors and some of the researchers call this the research hypothesis also. So research hypothesis is just opposite, mean there is a difference. There is a difference means is a difference between the parameters and the statistics. So now how do we know that this is the difference or not difference? Is with the help of the statistical analysis only. With the help of the statistical analysis, I think we can understand. Then now the question is, then how to search and how to adopt the appropriate statistical data. This is what sir, you just mentioned about, yes, hypothesis can be, and once we generated information, and once we have done for SPSS, and once we do some kind of analysis, and with the help of the the software, and the region will become up. Whether that region is correct or not, that is depend on that what kind of, you see, the data we use it, and what kind of method we use it, whether this method is appropriate or not. So now to understand all these things, it's the one must to understand about the basic concept of the hypothesis, and many others, the basic knowledge about the statistics especially, and then only we can use about the research very comfortably. And research is a very very fascinating kind of the work, and it will give us a lot of encourage once we have done it. Like nowadays so many techniques are available, like structural equation modelings. Then with the help of the structural equation modeling, now we can do so many good research. And even with the help of the regression is also we can do it. But now some of the testing like chi-square, t-test, and ANOVA and all, anyway, this is it's a ABC of the research. And now many of the scholars are doing very advanced kind of the hypothesis testing. Now yes, in the research means now even non-statistical hypothesis testing is also happening. And we came across in the floor of the high court, or Supreme Court or the District Court, and there are many kind of the platform about the arguments. We even in the court procedure, like the criminals, the trials. And let me just I just cite one example now here. In a trial, in jury must decided between the hypotheses. And even as even the jury, that means the justice, the chief justice is not aware much about in particular the case. The case is better known by the the two judges, mean in the two sides. So now there are two the evidence, that means two statements. One is the defendant is innocent. The defendant is innocent means is a non-hypothesis, actually is innocent. That means is not committed any kind of the mistake. And that was a statement. That was a statement actually. Initially, this was a statement. This statement was submitted by the himself, the person, individual himself, or it was supported by the he or her advocate. And another possibility is the defendant is guilty. The defendant is guilty. So now here the how the jury decided, and jury decide and depend on the its opponents. That means the how much evidence was submitted by the concerned the advocate. Is it depend on the advocate. But he might be innocent, but even those he unable to submit the evidence, then he may be guilty also. So that's why in the statistics, in the research means, and we have the level of significance. We have the 1% level of significance and the 5% of level of significance. Now the terms of that, the significance is coming in the research. That means now that is the one. The significance is actually here means how much the defendant is innocent, or whether the defendant is guilty. So this will be decided by the evidence supported by him. If he's unable to do it, then he will be under the bar, and if he's able to submit, then he'll be free from the he'll be free. So now so this is actually this is happening in the non-statistical hypothesis. The testing also, this is what we commonly and we have seen in the law court. So now the second aspect is actually I have written now here. So it's everything what I have explained it now here. Yes, if there is enough evidence to support the alternative hypothesis, then it's okay, you'll be guilty, and otherwise no. The second step is yes, the errors. Actually, I'm just mention about the errors. Yes, we talk about here means defendant is innocent. Actually, the defendant is innocent and defendant is guilty. Now, please. Now the defendant is the innocent, but he become as a guilty. So that is what we call as a type 1 errors. Error was happens. So type 1 error is understood as a alpha. Alpha. We understood as a type 1 error is understood as alpha. Alpha. That means level of significance. That that means because he's innocent, but the advocate unable to protect him. Now the defendant is guilty. He's going to give the punishment. So that means now the innocent, but the non-hypothesis is true, but non-hypothesis was rejected. So that is what we call as a type 1 errors. But the type 2 errors, now look at here, he's guilty. It's a false, but we make it truth. So that is a type 2 errors. So there is a represent is a beta. So now please, I have given now here non-statistical hypothesis testing. Now the type 2, the errors occurs when we do not reject the false null hypothesis. We accept the this is please. So now non-statistical testing. This is also not so. Yes, there are 2 types of errors. The first one I have removed. Actually, there are 2 types of errors, and the first error is a type 1 errors and type 2 error. Type 1 error means the non-hypothesis is the is a correct, is a truth but rejected, and this is the one, and that is a type 1 errors. And even the type 2 errors is also that reverse. And alternative hypothesis means there is the false, but there is a false, but we accept it. But false, but accept it. This is a type 2 errors. And a type 1 error means we represent as alpha, and the type 2 is a represent as a beta. Now, please, I miss. So now another there are 2 types of error. Again, I'm coming here now, please. In a hypothesis testing problem, there are 2 possibilities regarding the non-hypothesis. The highest point is highest node is a truth, and the highest node is false. Now, if the highest node is a truth, we can make it 2 decisions. Except highest node means a correct conclusion, and the reject means wrong decisions. And the type 1 errors occurs when we reject the truth non-hypothesis, and that is a type 1 errors occurs when the jury convicts the innocent the person. So this is what we have already shared it. Now the type 2 is also this is the one example I want to give. In a clinical trial, a new drug, the non-hypothesis might be that the new drug is no better on the average than the current drug. That is, there is no difference. There is no significant difference between the 2 drugs on an average. This is what I've given the example. So, but this is no difference. But if you say that because there is no difference means now the existing one and the new, which was manufacturers, that there is a side effect, and the effectiveness is on average is same, but we said that there is a difference. If you say like that, there is a type 1 errors. That means we are rejecting, but it's truth but rejecting. So now this is a type 1 errors. So type 1 type 2 error means now it should be rejected but accepted. Okay, it should be rejected if is a fall. Is a fall means what? The fall is a fall. The fall means is a difference. The fall means a different, but we accept. But that non-hypothesis was actually wrong. Non-hypothesis was there. That was wrong, but there is a difference. But we accept is a truth. So now that means now that was wrong. So that's why in such cases now we call this is the type 2 errors. Now the type 1 errors and type 2 errors we know that, which is just for the types of errors, and it's not so important. Now I have now another one is we have the types of the test. Yes, hypothesis. We aware about what exactly hypothesis is doing in a research, and as a researchers we have to state it in hypothesis in a always in negative form. And you can have some the another means alternative hypothesis you can have or not. There is not much the difference, and especially for the South Indians, many theses I came across the the normally they did about research hypothesis instead of alternative hypothesis, and they put the research hypothesis, and they are stated as the alternative hypothesis also. That is depend on the individual the researchers. Now then we understood about the that types of errors. type 1 errors and type 2 errors. So type 1 errors and type 2 errors are very, very important for the, especially for the scholars, researchers, and we have to understand about that, from the basic statistical, the point of view, that exactly what is actually type 1 and type 2. There is alpha is frequently used in the statistics, and then alpha is used in the research also. That means level of, the significance. Now the next one is the types of, the test. Yes, there are, we have already learned in the statistics, and whether we are exactly, we don't know much about that, whether these types of tests are used in the research or not. Yes, of course, we very oftenly, obviously we use it. There is a two. One is a two-tail, the test. So now two-tail test means, now yes, we can look at that, means in the alternate, in a non-hypothesis means, now means, say the highest knot is to the mu is say equal to 0, right? Or equal to 0, that means no difference, means the values are same. So now means, so in that case means the value are same, right? Value are these two values are same. That means the parameters and the statics are no different. But another means two-tail test means, now here look at, I am also given here, means there is no difference, right? That means not equal to. Not equal to means different. So that means these two might be the parameters and the statistics, means which will be, now it may be parameter may be more than, and the even statistics may be less than or more than. So there are two possibility is there. That means is greater than or less than also. In the, that means right tail or the left tail. So now there is a two, means it's a two-tail test and the one-tail test. In the two-tail test means one-tail test and the right tail test. So this is the one. So now in the right tail test means, now here the population is greater than that one, is a difference, and the left tail then means is a less than. So like that. So this is the such a way that we
Again, some problem, Professor Batindu?
It seems, sir, he got disconnected again.
So again, we'll start our discussion, parallel discussion about hypothesis.
Anyway,
Some of our participants must be having fair idea, especially those who are very good in statistics. But I also come across certain research proposals in certain board of studies, especially in social sciences like political science or public administration. They try to form one hypothesis, but they don't have any intention to test it statistically. They said in our field, we do it qualitatively. Quantitative technique, no need to apply. But qualitatively, we do it. They say like that. But qualitative analysis has one drawback of bias. I'm not questioning qualitative analysis as such, because quantitative analysis are qualitative analysis. They are not like two alternative things. And I mean, in every research, one can go for it. Both are important. So that is also one issue.
Yeah, that is there, sir. But in my opinion, when we are entering into domain of a different subject, when we are telling it a hypothesis, now we are entering into the domain of statistics. So if we are using that terminology, then we need to test it. And for testing, there are some parameters. Based on that only we can test whether hypothesis is to be accepted or rejected. So that has to be tested in that way only. So just assumption and just mentioning that based on observation, I don't think it is right way to check any hypothesis, test any hypothesis. It should be statistically tested only, or otherwise we don't use that word hypothesis. We should use that based on observation we found this. That is fine.
Yeah, without say research questions is also
research questions, yes, instead of hypothesis.
And when we suggest like that to some people, they say without hypothesis, people are objecting. That is why we are keeping this type of hypothesis. So intention is not to really to test something or to know something new, but it is happening like that in our research. And another type of hypothesis also we come across, certain hypothesis we did not test at all, because without testing, we can find significant relationship between the two variables. Say, for example, if there are more number of customers visiting a restaurant, their profitability will increase, say, for example, something like that. So this is also one type of experience we are having, Professor Tomba Singh ji.
Okay, sir. Please, sir. Please. We can discuss now, because it's disturbing a lot. Please, sir.
Fine. Now I don't know, any questions are there? Professor Bhartendra, you can take up some questions if any questions are there.
So far, questions not there, sir.
You know, my question is, Professor Tomba ji, actually last 2 years, last 2-3 years, a lot of improvement is there. The way we are conducting, we are running our PhD programs across the country. Now PhD coursework is a compulsory requirement. And this ethical issues, plagiarism and all these things also, we made it compulsory. And actually nowadays we are conducting more number of workshops compared to the days when you did your PhD, when I did my PhD, compared to those days. Now there are many workshops going on usage of statistical tools in business studies, and there is more awareness. But still, why I mean, it is not being reflected in quality of PhD thesis in Indian universities. In general, I am talking. Quality of PhD thesis in general, it is a big question mark in Indian universities, which is found by many UGC nominated committees also. Why it is happening?
This is yes, sir. So this is because of the this is the main reason is actually the main reason is actually the supervisor guides are not aware much actually. And this is
I appreciate your frankness. I really appreciate your frankness.
This is a problem is happening here also. The same thing in my department. And I never allowed my student to do the outsourcing about the analysis. I never allowed them. So I say personally, actually, I have done it. Most of the analysis is done by myself and my students, and we have learned about the SPSS, and we have learned, the all, the techniques actually. So we did it and that's why. And otherwise means, what is the use for doing the 5 years for research, and he do not know about how to calculate the t-test. And they do not know how to calculate the ANOVA actually, and they do not know how to calculate the standard deviations, and they are paying money, and they are, you see, all are done by the outsourcing, and somebody is doing all this. So then how they are going to learn it actually? how they are going to teach, once they become as a supervisors, and what about their knowledge actually. This is because of the the more I don't want to say even the all the professors also they are very expertise, there are many are there, not all. I think the maximum this is the because of the supervisors actually. And we are actually because the narration kind of research actually we have done it very descriptive kind of research we done, but it's not. But nowadays exploratory kind of research only we have done, the empirical, the kind of research we have done it. So that's why now the hypothesis is such a topic is become is very, very important actually. Today, due to this, I'm unable to do it because I have around 60 slide actually. So with the help of this 60 slide, I think that we can understand, very easily is actually what exactly the hypothesis, what is the importance of that, and how to apply it. And now see, and another thing is that now even the supervisor as well as the scholar facing a lot of problem now. So now data, which data, what kind of data we are requiring, and for that what kind of data we are requiring.
So coursework also, that means we are not utilizing one semester coursework also properly.
Yes,
to know certain things, because sometimes sometimes it happens. Someone may be very good in statistical tools. Someone may be very good in writing skill. Some may be very good in interpretation. Such things would happen in research. A supervisor may not be an expert in every subject on every topic, but certain gray areas it is continuing always. It is continuing, and repetitive studies. Actually, what is happening in Indian universities is if there is some thesis, then many people, they just by making some change in the objectives, by making some small change in the title, by changing the district or by changing the product, they want to do the same thing without having any intention to do something originally.
This is what you see. This is what I because now that, but I have came across some thesis coming from the Kerala side, especially for the two university, Mahatma Gandhi and the Kerala University. I think their theses are excellent actually. Comparatively, it's I think the
college teachers also provide research guidance sometimes.
Yes, sir, but they're very quality research. Not for the simply, not, but they have done exactly what they are doing.
Now,
what we are expecting from them.
Yeah, Professor Tombaji, one question we will take. There is in chat box. Please see if possible. One question is there. Dr. Sanjay Sinha is asking, what kind of test should I apply to test the impact of COVID-19? That is, if I wanted to compare between 2019-20 and 2021 on India's trade with South Asia. So
that it depends on the because there is only two variable, but in this case means you can apply it about the correlation is also one. You can do about the correlation because now your data is a ratio analysis, is a ratio data. Your data is a ratio data. So now the ratio data can be, it is a parametric, is a parametric. So now you can use it because you want to see about in a two particular, so you want to see about, there are two in the research actually there are two is there. So now one is a descriptive statistics and another one is a inferential statistics. So what exactly what you want actually. So this is, you want to see about the say before COVID or after COVID. You want the before COVID or after COVID. So that means the year wise. But in case of the year wise means even you can apply the t-test also. The t-test can be applied in two variables. It depends on the individual, what you want exactly. And even the correlation is also one. You can the positive direction and the n of the small letter r is a positive or the negative, or in case, you can see about the t-test can be and you can find out the the t-test, then p-values. If the p-value is less than 0.05, that means the 5%, the alpha value is 5. So that means you can say that there's a difference between the before COVID and the after COVID. So that in such a way that also you can do that. Please, Batindu, Professor Batindu, please. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it? I think. Am I answer or what you want, please, sir?
Yeah. That was the question actually from Dr. Sinha, Sanjay Sinha, that what test we can apply. So sometimes we need to see the data, nature of data also, whether it is parametric or not, as you are telling. So if it is parametric, t-test is okay. Otherwise, u-test may be there. If it is categorical, Likert scale, then I think McNamara may be better. So that depends the type of data we are having.
Yeah, if you have done now yes, pass and post, that means yes or no. In that case, in case of say yes or no, before, after, yes or no. But in that case, this is the nominant data. So nominant means we can McNamara test can be applied. And but in case of the parametric means in the ratio data, then t-test is there. But now in the SPSS, whether this is a t-test or z-test, actually in our statistic we have learned, and more than 30 large scale and small scale, but in the softwares actually that kind of the demarcation was not given, and the t-test can be done if the year wise they have given about the figures. Otherwise, now you want to see as a whole whether it's a negative position, an upward trend, or in that case means simply even the even that even r, small letter r, then even the correlation can be also done. But the t-test is the right the test. Please, sir.
Yes, parametric, yes. And then if there are 3 or 4 variables, then I think ANOVA can be applied.
Yeah, it can be, yes, ANOVA can be applied.
So finally that depends on what kind of data we are having.
This is what the researchers actually, when we are framing a questionnaire, once see the now very very the common things are happening, and we used to scholars used to prepare about their questionnaires like as a ritual kind of the ceremony actually. Now the questionnaire, once he or she completed the questionnaire, that means now the 50-60% of his research is over actually. Once the question is over, once the questionnaire is over, means now 60-70 the part of research is over, because he know that what kind of information he's requiring, and what types of I think which the technique is going to be used so that means it depend on the questionnaires. So once that's why the questionnaire, when we are preparing about the questionnaire, it have to be very, very careful. The questionnaires. Please, sir.
Last question. There is one question. It is from Ganapati. My question is how we are going to identify plagiarism and how much percentage is acceptable as far as PhD thesis is concerned.
Now, yes, government of now UGC is already uploaded in their website also. So now less than 10% is better. It depend on the universities actually, but we try to keep below 5% also. So we always try to keep in below 5%, but acceptable, the level is already given by the concern, the university, and our is less than the 10%. So UGC is actually this is a guideline, and this guideline was adopted by the concerned universities only. But nowadays, even there are these softwares are made by the human being, and there are so many techniques are also there. Even somebody can make it, the zero level also. So there are a lot of, you see, the possibilities are there, but the sincerity is very much important. How much we are sincere. And even the website, because the softwares are made by the human being, even the Grammarly is also there. From that also we can check it. But as a scholars, the integrity is very much important. How much I understand. And the otherwise, actually, we can manipulate. I think who can it? Even the plagiarism can be also manipulated. I have seen that. It's happening. But this is a individual. Actually, we have how much I am a sincere. So that is the more the important. And because we are academician and we are the teachers, and we are going to we are going to interact with our own, the PhD student, and the PhD student can understand how much my supervisors knew about the research. So that is a stigma actually.
Sir, I will add one more thing in this, that as per UGC guidelines, universities have adopted little different things. But as per UGC guideline, we have to check it through the Turnitin or Urkund softwares.
Yes.
And permissible is within 10%, not more than 10%.
10%, below 10%.
If it is more than 10%, up to 40%, a student is supposed to resubmit it. If it is going beyond 40% to 60%, then he will be debarred to submit thesis for next 1 year. And if it is more than 60%, then his admission will be terminated, will not be allowed to continue research. So that is the rule from UGC. But universities have adapted different things. So we have to see our own universities. So Mizoram University has adapted as it is, whatever is written in UGC. So we follow same thing.
Yeah, Professor, you see that's what my intention is actually, you see if my is above 10%, then why should I submit?
Yes.
I think that the question doesn't arise actually.
That means, so that is the right thing. So keep it below 10%. Yes.
Then 10% only. Then we have to submit it, and then the head of department, supervisors, candidate, then librarian will put the signatures, and then
another thing is we should not try to test it after completing everything. No. So when I write some 10 pages, it is possible to test about its originality. 10 pages we can test, or one chapter we can test, instead of writing all the chapters then trying to test it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it should happen. It should happen from the beginning, continuously in a small way. And then we understand where lapses are happening and where I need to be more original in writing.
Sir, there are, but nowadays, sir, because I think most of the students are very much aware, and there are many, the softwares are available, and how to manipulate the things.
And some people, some scholars, they are good in doing research on that than their original research. So that is another research area actually.
Yeah, this is also another research area.
So thank you very much, Professor Tomba Singh, and despite technical problem, technical interruption, you made it happen, and I think this is quite enjoyable session on a technical issue, and I think we did our job well. Okay.
I'm so sorry, sir. Today somehow there is a lot of disturbance in the net problem is there.
It happens.
And I could not explain in detail and example all these things, and even the p-value this and that, and I'm so sorry to my.
But that's good actually, but because no one spoke on this, and at least we are able to raise some questions, some interesting and controversial questions. So raising some questions is also the purpose of any talk, any seminar. Okay.
So next time, sir, you give me some 2-3 classes, then only I can explain. Even these topics actually, it's important for the many people aware, but even those, very much important actually. I'm touched only 5% only. Still 95% is untouched. So now this is my great privilege to the Professor Bhatendu and the Professor Sir Jyoti Kumar. And when I was in Mizoram University, and he was a mentor, and he guided me also. So now I am here because of his blessing.
No,
So I am very grateful to you also, sir.
So there is only one person whose blessings are important, no? That is Almighty.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So thank you for your good words.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
And
okay, sir. Bye.
you may
Bye.
leave.
Bye,
No
sir.
problem.
Bye, sir.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
So now our HRDC staff, they are saying one feedback link is there in our website, and I request the participants to visit HRDC website and try to give your feedback online. So again at 3:30 we have this farewell. I mean, this is not farewell. Valedictory. So we have valedictory session at 3:30, and Vice Chancellor of Assam Women's University, Professor Ajanta, and she is going to be our chief guest at 3:30. So meanwhile, I request all the participants, to complete your job of giving feedback online. If you have any problem, you just respond to us in the group.